What is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about the age-old topic, and that is how to improve your game sense and become a smarter Fortnite player. So many people nowadays are very cracked mechanically because nowadays you can literally just hop into creative and play that for 4 to 5 hours every single day, and you'll just become a lot better mechanically, whether it's editing wise, aiming wise, building wise, box fighting wise, whatever the case is, right? But the thing that a lot of people struggle with, and all these crack kids who are really good mechanically but maybe not as good game sense, who can kill anyone in a 1v1 or kill anyone in a box fight or build fight, but then when it comes to an actual game tend to struggle a little bit, is because they don't have good game sense. So basically in today's video I'm going to be going over how to improve your game sense and actually start being able to work on your game sense, because you can be grinding creative 24/7, have absolutely unbelievable mechanics, but if you don't have good game sense, you're never going to do good in a tournament or an actual game. So if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and let's get into it. So my first tip, and I believe I've talked about this in almost every single video that it requires IQ, or I'm saying like improve your game sense or whatever the case is, and people still tend to don't do it properly, and that's watching and VOD reviewing pro players. Now, so many people will have hundreds of hours watching, like, let's say, for example, Booga or something like that, or Mongrel, and for some reason they still struggle with their game sense, or still struggle in fighting, and they'll be like, well, I VOD review pros all the time, like, why am I not playing like them, or why am I not actually, like, starting to learn like them? And the reason is you may just be, like, watching them, you're not actually paying attention to what they're doing. So a couple things that actually force you to help pay attention is, one is try watching the videos at half speed or 0.75 on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever the case is, someone like Benji's Cash Cup gameplay, and actually start watching and seeing what he does. What does he do in different scenarios during a fight? What small things that you can pick up on. I've made a couple VOD reviews on Unknown and Benji. If you want to look through my channel, they're there, and you can kind of see how I VOD review personally. But you need to be looking at lower speeds, which will allow you to comprehend and process what they're doing better. If you're watching at full speed, well then end game or something during a fight, it's hard to actually pay attention, especially these high sense players, to doing and actually remembering what they're doing. And a good way to actually remember it, because so many of you guys will watch them and just see kind of what's up, be like, oh, he did a really cool thing there, and then just never do that in your own gameplay. So what I recommend doing is writing down on either Google Docs, Word, on your notes on your phone, or even on a piece of paper, and just writing down small things that you see. For example, Benji builds every single time he grabs a chest, or every single time he grabs a supply drops or pops a campfire. He builds no matter what, just to avoid getting shot by someone else. That's just something simple that maybe you don't do in your own gameplay. So write it down, and before you hop on the next day on Fortnite, just read over the notes that you took down and just try and remember it. And the more you read over those notes, say if you read over those notes like once a day for like 2 weeks, well then you're going to remember a lot more what Benji does, and then you're going to be able to put it into your own gameplay. Now my next tip is you gotta stop grinding as much creative. Like I said, all of you guys may be mechanically cracked and you have really good mechanics, you can kill anyone, you have really good aim, really good editing, and if you don't, well then you probably do want to grind a little bit more creative. But if you are really good mechanically but struggle with your game sense, then stop playing as much creative. Limit, like if you're playing 4 to 5 hours or 2 to 3 hours of creative every single day and only 1 to 2 hours in actual game, you need to switch that around. Unless your mechanics are rough, then definitely stick with the creative. But if they're pretty good and you struggle with your game sense, well then maybe limit to creative like 1 hour a day or 45 minutes a day, just practicing and warming up your mechanics just a little bit, and then going the rest into scrims, customs, going into arena W key, or getting to champs, or just W keying in duos, or whatever the case is, right? Just playing a little bit more in game and actual people, instead of just playing in a 1v1 box fight map or a 1v1 creative map. Because if your mechanics are already really good, well then you actually need to get into the process of actually fighting people, dealing with RNG, dealing with third parties, dealing with things that you're not going to find in creative, right? So get out of creative and start playing the game more. Like I said though, if your mechanics aren't good and they're just average or something like that, then stick with creative, keep practicing your mechanics, but this is for the people who are already cracked mechanically. Now this next tip, again, I do talk about it a lot because it is so important, and a lot of you guys still struggle with it, is you need to fight more people. You need to W key and learn how to fight more people. A lot of players, especially the ones who are maybe not as confident in their abilities, will just play the game out, play arena, and try and go for a 1-kill victory royale or 2-kill high ground retake victory royale, right? You're not improving. What you need to do is, unless you're not in champs, which even at this point, I would say don't worry about champs, because there's no really reason to get into champs now because FNCS is over. But again, it's all your opinion. But if I were you guys, you need to hop in solos or duos or whatever the case is and just practice W keying. You need to practice fighting as many people as you can, getting confident, getting the ability to know what opponents do in certain scenarios. Like all these pro players who are just unreal W keyers have been W keying since season 3, season 4, right? They haven't been, like, back in the day, all of us, most people at least, would play and try and get that victory royale with maybe 1 to 5 kills, right? Those pros were going for 20 bombs back in season 5. So they've already grinded W keys where they're so good at, excuse me, they're so good at W keying, they know exactly what to do, what people do in different scenarios, which a lot of you guys and myself even lack a little bit. So what you need to do, hop into a solo, hop into duos, whatever the case is, and just practice fighting people. Don't be scared. You die, who cares? It's a battle royale. You can hop in another game in literally a minute. If you die, who cares? But if not, just practice W keying and fighting as many people as possible. Now this next tip is similar to number 1, VOD reviewing pro players, but this one is you need to VOD review yourself. You need to watch over your own gameplay and figure out what you're doing wrong. Why do you keep dying? Is it you're missing your shots or you're missing your edits? Well, then it's more of a mechanical problem. You need to start working on your mechanics. But for game sense wise, what are you doing wrong that is allowing you to die? Are you rotating too late? Are you rotating too early? Did you go somewhere where there's potentially like 4 people and you should have rotated far around the Misty, or go instead of going through Misty, or whatever the case is, right? What did you do wrong that forced you to die? Did you make a bad edit on someone? Because making a bad edit isn't a mechanical problem, it's a game sense problem. You're making a wrong edit. You may not be making the peanut butter 3-corner edit. You're actually making just a window peek, which you shouldn't be doing. That's a game sense problem. That's not a mechanical sense problem, right? So you just need to be looking through your VODs right when you die. You don't need to watch the entire game, but maybe like a minute before you die, what did you do wrong that allowed you to die? Did you go for a bad peek on someone? Did you do a bad high ground retake? Again, those aren't mechanical problems. Those are game sense problems because you're doing the wrong decision. So it is quite difficult because almost every single fight you're going to do something wrong that's different. But if you slowly start seeing, okay, I'm doing this specific edit every single time I die, well then stop doing that edit, right? Like there's things that are going to align and you're going to notice that you're doing wrong and then you're going to try and fix it. So watch over your own VODs. Figure out what you're doing wrong in specific scenarios. And again, same thing with the pro VOD review. If you really need to and you really want to start getting as much information as possible, slow down the clips a little bit, grab a piece of paper and write down exactly what you're doing wrong. For example, you keep doing, you keep rotating through POIs instead of rotating around them, which allows more people to third party you and like people who are camping in a POI to shoot at you. Write down in your notes. Rotate around POIs or rotate around hotspots. You guys have played this game a lot, I'm assuming, so you know where hotspots are. You know where people stand a lot during mid-game or end-game where people like to rotate, so avoid hotspots or whatever the case your dying is, right? Write it down and figure it out. Now this next tip, and this is probably going to be the last one, and it is very, very hard to start learning, and if you don't have it already, you really do want to start focusing on this. And it is just playing the game and going through the motions is something that a lot of people struggle with, and is the reason why their game sense is terrible. Is a lot of people will just go into a game and just play the game and keep going through the motions. Oh, someone's there, I'm going to crank 90s, going to shoot them down and then drop down and box fight them, right? Wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. During the game, during every fight, during every rotate, even when no one's around, when you're looting, you need to be thinking about possible scenarios. You need to be thinking, okay, I need to start rotating in a minute and a half. There's going to be probably people on, for example, if you're in Craigie, there's going to be people coming from Sniper Hill. There's going to be people at Bridge, and there's going to be people coming from Pleasant, and maybe a small Frenzy, right? You need to be thinking of multiple different things. And yes, you don't want to be overthinking in a tournament, but when you're actually trying to improve your game sense, you can't be a robot and just go through the motions, right? You need to be thinking about different possibilities and different different things that are happening. When you're fighting, you got to be like, okay, there's a possibility of a third party. I need to finish this quick, especially because we're sitting next to POI. If I drop down in box fight, I need to do a top right edit instead of a window peek, right? Like, you need to be thinking about what you're doing. Again, in a tournament or something like that, you want to be so good where you don't have to worry about doing a specific edit because you already have that, like, you're already in that niche where you're doing that edit every single time, right? But when you're just in an arena game or you're practicing, well, then you need to be thinking all the time. You can't just be going through the motions. You can't be acting like a robot, or you won't start slowly improving your game sense. Think about everything you possibly can while you're playing arena. Once that starts to get a little bit more fluent, you don't need to worry about thinking about where people are rotating because you already know where the hotspots are. You already know what edit to do. Well, then it's going to become more natural and your game sense is going to improve. So if you guys enjoyed this video, if you did, make sure you slap a like button on it. Comment what you want to see for a future video. Hit that subscribe button. Use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.